Good morning and welcome to this weekly market update from MRC Markets. Today is the 21st of November 2013. What we'll do today is go through some technical analysis on Euro dollar, cable dollar, Swiss, Aussie dollar, Euro sterling and gold. I'm just going to go through basically the main setups that are in play and basically just the key focus of each of the charts, review what's been going on and give a bit of an outlook, bearing in mind that the videos are weekly, so can't go too sort of long term, but I will look at the bigger picture as well. For any followers out there, we have 3 moving averages in each of these charts. The red one is a 50 simple moving average, the purple is 100 simple, and the gold is 200 simple. I will not be making any trade calls recommendations in this video. Trade at your own risk. If you could please read our full disclaimer on our website, which is www.mrcmarkets.com. Okay, then let's have a look at the euro dollar. This is the weekly chart. I mean, we've spoken about these. I'll actually change the colour of these fibs a sec because I reinstalled the platform. 2 seconds. We'll just use the 50% and the 61.8 on all of these, just as sort of the sort of healthy retracement zones, and they're the 2 most popular, to be honest. But there's nothing wrong with using the 38.2, for example. Plenty of people use them. Right, so just briefly look at this weekly. We spoke about this last time out. So these are the sort of the big fibs that everyone's looking at, and the longer term players will be in. So this is the fib from the highs of 2011 to the lows of 2012. There's a sell setup technically still in play. Sellers coming in at the 61.8% retracement at 1.38. They're trying to, and they will be trying to push this all the way down to the 0% level, which is at 120s. But what is interesting in terms of sort of shorter term, looking at weekly, in terms like day trading, etc., is this key level, which is the 50% level, because we had a weekly, last 2 weekly candles have been closed below, and as soon as we've come up here, we've seen sellers coming in and trying to push this below this 50%, and it's quite interesting to see in terms of price action. So that's at the 1.3491s, so keep an eye out on that. But that's purely in terms of the weekly. I mean, yes, this fib is still, well, it kind of still is in play, but it has technically been taken out, although a lot of people will be looking at the sort of extension, and would say that a fib has only been technically done when it's hit one of the extensions. So for example, the 123.6% extension. So buyers will technically be a few buyers will be looking to see that get taken out. So they're both technically in play. In terms of the other sort of focus on this week is this 200-week moving average. We had a test on that a couple of weeks ago, a nice test. So buyers will be looking to sort of take out that highs and see it rotate towards the upside. In terms of the daily, which I think is a much more interesting chart, it's all about this fib here. We've been speaking about this for the last couple of weeks now. Buyers will be looking to see us rotate towards the upside, towards those 138s. But what has been interesting this week and what has happened in terms of setups is the fib from that high to the lows there. So I'm just going to delete this 123 for now, just to save confusion. Yeah, sellers coming in at this 50-day moving average. I mean, I posted this on Twitter, I think yesterday or the day before. Yeah, the 50-day moving average and the 50% retracement confluence level. So that's at the 1.3560s. Sellers came in yesterday, well, the day before as well, because we had a bit of a pierce above. But what was interesting yesterday is we had the some sources in quotes came out saying that that we could see negative deposit rates in the eurozone. So the euro got extremely weak yesterday, and that is, I mean, it's always nice when fundamentals coincide with technicals, but although we do focus on the technicals in these videos, but yeah, that was the reason for the big portion of the sell-off yesterday. And we've got a nice close below the 100-day moving average here as well, and we're getting a little bit of a bounce up today, but that is currently getting capped at the 100-day moving average. A reason for the bounce up today, and you can see it clearer if I just flip to the 4-hour chart here, is the fib here. So from that low to that high there, so the lows of 7th of December to the highs of around that high, which is 19th of November high. Buyers coming in at 61.8, which is also previous support if you look where with the cursor's hovering over. So we've got a nice pierce below the 61.8 at 134s. Also, if you like playing the round numbers, 134 handle pretty much to the pip there, which will obviously be a big option expiry level, I would have thought. Lovely reaction to that, and it really has rotated nicely today off of that level, so a nice bit of confluence there. You can see it even clearer on the 1 hour chart with a nice 1 hour reversal candle there, which is still in play, and buyers will be looking to grind this higher towards these key moving averages here. So yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of the focus on euro. I mean, if you're looking at even shorter time, so let's just delete that big fib there on the 4 hour. So let's say you're sticking to the 1 hour chart, so you've got that long setup there, which is still in play. And if we do get a bounce up, then there'll be some short term sellers, I would have thought, coming in at the 50% on the reverse side of the coin here, and that comes in at one spot 34.88. So keep an eye on that for the rest of the day, tomorrow, or even next week. So it could just chop around today, you never know. But yeah, it's been really technical, nice moves going on in the euro over this week, the last few weeks really. It's been very technical, even for the last few months really. I mean, remember speaking about this fib here on this daily, that one there from that highs to lows there, that really is just a technical trade there. Nice uptrend, a nice clean retracement down, and then bam, pretty much to the pip. So some really nice fibs playing out on the euro dollar. Cable, in terms this is the weekly chart. Last week's weekly candle, really bullish candle there. It's pretty much a textbook hammer, although there's a bit of upper wick on it. But it's just sort of forming a bear flag on this weekly chart really. So I mean, the odds I'd say are still towards a pop above here, a pop of these and break of these highs. But of course it can easily just keep them retracing and flagging, and maybe even come back down to this sort of fib setup here, perhaps down to the 50%. But of course it's a long way away, but you never know. And of course we've got these 3 moving averages here, which are of course flattening out, and they tend to act better. So if we do come back down towards these sort of levels, and keep an eye out on that. Of course that's a long way away, so I'm sure we'll be speaking about that in the next few weeks as well. In terms of the daily, I mean, it's just still chopping around. And we haven't had a daily candle close outside of one spot 62.31s and one spot 58.80s pretty much since September. So I mean, that low's really interesting. So it coincides with this gap here to the left there, you can see. So where we sort of came back down and pretty much filled that gap, that has been the support. So really interesting stuff there, nice and technical. We're currently above the 50-day moving averages, where we've had a couple of tests on that, and it's holding above. So buyers are going to want to keep on grinding this higher, taking out and take out the 0% line here, which is at the one spot 62.60s. So yeah, that's cable pretty much. It's just keep it simple, keep it with the levels and the key fibs really. I mean, in terms of the shorter term plays, the sort of 1 hour, if we keep on retracing towards the downside, then that'll be the fib I'd be looking out for. If it comes back down to the 50%, which is at the one spot 60.15s, or if we're going to keep it even more simple, just call it the 160s there, because that's bang in between the 50% and 61.8% range. And of course it's also previous support, previous resistance as well, a big level, that 160s. It'd be a big option expiry level as well, I'd have thought. And yeah, that's pretty much it on cable. Dollar Swiss, it's been a fairly interesting chart. In terms of the weekly, nothing major to talk about. It's just sort of floating around here in no man's land. I mean, you could call that support there. The sort of the 2012 lows is where we're sort of coming off of here. Last week's weekly candle, not a majorly bearish reversal candle, just a nothing sort of candle, just a slight retracement candle. So, and that's been evident really this week in terms of sort of grind high. We came back down a bit, and well, as euros sold off yesterday, dollar Swiss got a nice pop up. So it looks like it wants to keep on grinding higher. And in terms of the daily, as euro's been coming off of the 61.8, dollar Swiss has also been coming down off the 61.8% as well. So a nice sort of mirror image chart there. And it's also interesting to see that it's currently below the 100-day moving average here. So it popped back up yesterday, and it's getting capped at the 50% and this 61.8% retracement. So sellers will want to see this keep on closing below this 50%. Any close above, and we can see these highs get taken out around here in a test of the 200-day moving average. So keep an eye out on that. And in terms of the 4-hour, nothing major. I mean, the only interesting point here is that we had a nice bounce off the 200 SMA here. That wasn't off a fib; it's just pure textbook sort of bounce off the SMA. That's why we like to see these on our charts. Also, we're currently above the 50 SMA here on the 4-hour. So if it comes back down, then keep an eye on that. That could be an interesting point of support. And the other fib there. So similar to the daily where we come off the 61.8 on this 4-hour, similar to euro. So if you flip it to that euro 4-hour chart, bam, off the 61.8, complete opposite on the 61.8 on the dollar Swiss, the 61.8 as well. So yeah, sellers are trying to push this back down as well. So interesting setups there, and that's the focus for dollar Swiss. The Aussie chart. In terms of this weekly, it's the same as the daily, so I'm just going to flip it over to the daily in terms of the main focus. We spoke about it. We've been speaking about it for the last few weeks, really, in terms of what is going on the Aussie dollar in terms of daily chart. Sellers coming in at the 50% retracement. This sell setup is still well and truly in play, and the sellers are trying to grind this down towards the lows here at the 0.88s. But then we have the other side of the coin, which is this fib here, from those lows to the highs. Sellers, the buyers, sorry, they came in at the 50%. We had 3 daily candles pierce below the 50% and tested the 100-day moving average, and we got a brief pop up. But yesterday we had a bearish engulfing candle, so the bears are trying to push this back down. So the daily candle close is really key here. Buyers really do have to see this close above this 50% here, otherwise I think it's just going to keep on selling off. But another key support, if we do come back down, the last sort of hope for the buyers, I'd say, in terms of these two sort of swing daily setups, is this 61.8% retracement here and the sort of 0.92 confluence support range. And that coincides with these previous highs around here, so previous resistance could well turn into support here, so keep an eye on that. Really interesting on Aussie on this daily chart, definitely, in terms of, well, today's daily candle close, very key. And also keep an eye on the weekly candle close as well, because last week's weekly candle was quite bullish, a sort of a nice reversal pattern there. So would not be surprised to see it close above that 50%, but of course it doesn't have to, it can keep on grinding lower. Euro sterling, in terms of the weekly, nothing major of interest. In terms of the daily, it's just all about this key support here, which stands at around the 0.8330s. We've got sort of triple bottom here, quite a few candle spikes below this and closes above, so buyers trying to hold on to this key level here. And in terms of fibs, we spoke about this last time. This nice sell setup that got sold off in between sort of 50% and 61.8% retracement. Sellers brought that back down but couldn't quite take out and closed below those lows. So if we do get a pop up, then wouldn't be surprised to see this fib get some interesting action at the 50% here, which also coincides with 50-day moving averages here, and the 100-day moving average could coincide with the 61.8% retracement. So that's what I'd be focusing on this euro sterling if we get some sort of bounce towards the upside, and that's the same sort of focus on the 4 hour as well. Really, nothing else majorly of interest. Okay, that's the forex done. Let's have a look at gold. Gold is another disappointing chart really in terms of the price action. It's just sort of grinding lower really. I left this up from last week's video, just talking about the round numbers and how key they are. That was a lovely bounce we had there, and we sold off up here at the 1350s. Yesterday we had a daily candle close below the 1250s, so sellers want to be keeping this below this 1250 level. So if we get a bounce up, keep an eye on the price action on sort of shorter term time frames, for example the 1 hour, because they'll be looking to grind that lower towards these 1200s, I would have imagined. In terms of fibs, in terms of the daily, this is the recent swing low to swing high, the swing high to swing low even. The 50%, funny enough, coincides pretty much bang on dead with the 1300s. So if we do get a bounce up, then that'll be a very key level to keep an eye out for. In terms of shorter term time frames, a lot of people look at these sort of smaller dips here. That one, for example, there. And funny enough, that coincides with this key support. If you flip it to the back to that daily, this key support at the sort of 1266s, 1265s. Yeah, so that could be an interesting one to keep an eye out for there. The previous lovely support there could and support there could turn out to be resistance, so keep an eye out on that as well. And yeah, that's pretty much the focus. That's pretty much the focus for gold. Okay then, that's all for today. Hope you found that video useful. If there's any other pairs that you want to have a look at next week, then feel free to comment under this YouTube video, or send us a tweet to our Twitter feed, which is at MRC_markets. Hope you found that video useful, you enjoyed it. Have a great rest of the week trading, and I'll catch you next week. Thanks for watching.